Hi, everyone. Welcome to Summertime Stories with me, Miss Debbie, where I just have some stories to maybe cool off. Maybe you just want to sit in front of the fan or something in the air conditioning and just cool off and listen to a good book. Everyone loves to have a story told to them, so I have three today. The Three Little Pigs and the Somewhat Bad Wolf by Mark Teague. Wolves get such a bad reputation, don't they? This is published by Orchard Books, an imprint of Scholastic. We all know the story of the Three Little Pigs. Here they are playing soccer on the farm. Once there were three little pigs. They lived on a farm, as most pigs do, and were happy. Then one day the farmer told them that he and his wife were moving to Florida. He paid the pigs for their good work and sent them on their way. So they were pretty happy here, flopping in a mud bath and eating potato chips and reading a book. Interesting. And there's the farmer. We're moving to Florida. Whoop. Let's buy potato chips, said the first pig. Let's buy sody pop, said the second pig. Let's buy building supplies, said the third pig, who was altogether unpig-like. So here they are packing up their belongings and leaving the farm. Reluctantly, the others agreed. The first pig decided to build a straw house. Since straw is cheap, he had plenty of money left over for potato chips. So here he is building a straw house, and he's getting a delivery of boxes and boxes of potato chips. The second pig decided to build a stick house. Sticks are practically free, as he had lots of money left over for soda pop. And there's his soda pop. The third pig decided to build a brick house. She spent all her money on bricks and mortar, but the man at the hardware store gave her a sandwich. That was very nice of him. Soon the straw house was finished. It was dusty and musty. But the first pig did not mind. He rocked in his hammock and ate potato chips. What's he reading? 1001 Tasty Desserts. Look at his fat little pig hand in the potato chip bag. Soon after that, the stick house was done. It was small and there was no room for a bathtub. But the second pig did not mind. He took a mud bath and drank sody pop. I don't know why pigs get such a bad reputation about mud. Maybe they're just trying to cool off. Brick by brick, the third pig worked on her house. Sometimes the other pigs would come by to watch. They had a wonderful time watching her work, drinking their sody pop and eating chips. Finally, the brick house was finished. It was big, beautiful, and strong. The third pig was very happy. She filled a basket with vegetables from her garden. Look at that beautiful house. And there, look at those beautiful vegetables. The next day, a wolf came to town. He was very hungry and somewhat bad. He went to a donut shop, but it was closed. Look at that. Look at the donut guy running out the back door. He went to a hot dog stand, but it was locked. Closed and locked. And here's the hot dog man pulling the shade down. Everyone's afraid of the wolf. Finally, he went to a pizza parlor, but he wasn't allowed in. He left in a very bad mood. Soon he came to a straw house. It smelled like pig. I like pig, he said. not in a friendly way. He banged on the door. "Who is it?" called the first pig. "The wolf. Open up or I'll blow your house down." I think the door is stuck," said the pig. So the wolf huffed and he puffed and he blew the house down. "I can't believe that worked," he said. He had never blown down a house before. Quickly, the first pig got on his scooter and sped away. I want a scooter like that. I think that's called a granny scooter. The wolf moved on, hungry but confident. He came to another house, this one built of sticks. "Same piggy smell," he said. He knocked on the door. "Who is it?" called the second pig. "Wolf, open up or I'll blow your house down. Trust me," he added. "I've done it before." "I think the door is jammed," said the pig. So the wolf took an enormous breath, and he huffed and he puffed and he blew the house down. Woo, pile of bricks. I mean sticks. It rhymes. "I'm amazed that works," he said. Meanwhile, pig number 2 got on his bike and rode away. The wolf was still hungry, very, very hungry. The hungry wolf came to a beautiful brick house. He noticed a familiar scooter and bicycle, and the house reeked of pig. The somewhat bad wolf rang the doorbell. "Who is it?" called the pigs. "The wolf. Open up or I will blow this house down." "Oh no," said the pigs, "not now. We are watching our favorite TV show." The starving wolf took a humongous breath, and he huffed and he puffed. And he huff huff puffed, and puff huff huffed, and huffy huffy puff huffed. After all the huffing and puffing stopped, the third pig said, "Do you think he is still out there?" The 3 pigs looked through the window and saw the wolf collapsed on the lawn. "Look at the poor guy," said the first pig. "He's exhausted. Maybe he needs some potato chips." The second pig added, "And some sody pop." The 3 pigs revived the wolf with some smelling salts and invited him in. The somewhat bad wolf was embarrassed. I was so hungry I could not think straight." "Have a potato chip," said the first pig. "Have a sody pop," said the second pig. "Never mind that stuff," said the third pig. "Dinner is almost ready." Since the houses were wrecked, the first 2 pigs moved in with the third pig. "My house, my rules," she said. She made them clean their rooms before they went out to play. And here they are playing in the swimming pool. Even the wolf. The wolf stayed too, but there was no more huffing and no more puffing, and he was hardly ever bad again. We hope. I like that particular story of the big bad wolf, the 3 little pigs. Now, this is a new book for our library. It's called Lucky Duck. Look at how pretty this is. I always like kind of polka dot things. Here's a pickle jar, and a little bug is eating the very last pickle. Lucky Duck by Greg Pizzoli, published by Alfred A. Knopf. Did you ever hear anyone say, "Oh, what a lucky duck"? Susan the duck was feeling a bit unlucky. The roller skates she ordered online were 2 sizes too big. Darn. No refunds, no exchanges. I hate that stuff. "I have the worst luck," said Susan as she pulled on another pair of socks. So people used to think if your shoes or your skates were too big, you just put on extra socks and that would fill out the boot. It doesn't work. My parents bought me big ice skates, and I would put like double pairs of socks on, and it didn't work. Like, It was just terrible. Just then, the doorbell rang. Ooh, who's at the door? Is it the somewhat bad wolf? Congratulations, it's your lucky day, said the wolf at the door. You've won. I did? I won? Asked Susan. What did I win? Why, you have won this fabulous pot, said the wolf. Perfect for making soup. Congratulations again. You are one lucky duck. Susan did feel lucky. It was a very nice pot. A little big for her kitchen, but still very nice. Thank you, she said to the wolf. And the rest of the morning, she felt very lucky. But just before lunch, her luck turned. Her kitchen light bulb burned out. Of all the bad luck, said Susan as she got out a new bulb and her ladder. And she was on the ladder and the doorbell rang. Congratulations, it's your lucky day, said the wolf. You've won. But, said Susan, I already won. I already have a pot. Of course, said the wolf. And now you have won these wonderful onions. Great for soup. What a lucky duck you are. Oh, said Susan. She liked onions. And she loved soup. This was a lot of onions, though, to eat all by herself, but still she felt lucky. Thank you again, Mr. Wolf, Susan called as she carried the onions to her cupboard. A little while later, she was making a sandwich when she saw that her pickle jar was empty. No pickles, cried Susan. What bad luck. So she's having, looks like a cheese sandwich. There's the mustard, the ketchup, and the pickle jar is empty. Do you like pickles? I like my pickles. But she felt better after the wolf showed up with a big bunch of celery. So you could eat a stalk of celery instead of pickles with your sandwich. By the afternoon, Susan was feeling unlucky. She had lost her favorite marble. But then the wolf brought her carrots, and she felt lucky again. Maybe I will make that soup, thought Susan. That evening, Susan invited some friends to share her soup. While she was talking on the phone, she discovered a nest of hornets in the tree behind the house. Just my rotten luck, she said. Don't ever go near a nest of hornets. They'll come after you. She was in the kitchen looking for her bug spray. Never do that either. Let an adult do it. She was in the kitchen looking for her bug spray when she heard a knock at the door. It's open, come in, yelled Susan. Hello, duck, said the wolf. Are you making the soup? Yes, said Susan, thanks to you. I have added the onions, the celery, and the carrots to the big pot. I invited some friends for dinner, and you should join us. I think it will be a very nice soup. Yes, I'm sure it will, said the wolf. So what's the big prize this time? Asked Susan. Duck soup, said the wolf. Susan gulped. Duck soup? That's right, said the wolf. Today is my lucky day. The wolf snarled. He grinned at Susan with his jagged teeth. Duck soup is my favorite dish. Oh no, yelped Susan. My luck has run out. And then, look at the little bug. He's holding the marble. The wolf slipped on Susan's marble because the little bug put it in his way. And the wolf fell headfirst into the empty pickle jar. He banged into the ladder, lost his balance, and jammed his foot into one of Susan's 2 sizes too big roller skates. Susan gasped as the wolf flew out the back door, slammed into the tree, and smacked right into the hornet's nest. Not good. And then that rotten wolf rolled down the hill with the hornets after him, never to be seen again. Just then the doorbell rang. Susan's friends had arrived for dinner. "Welcome," said Susan. "The soup is almost ready." Susan looked around the table and smiled. She felt very, very lucky. The end. I like that. She felt very, very lucky to have some good friends and that her day turned out pretty good. No bad repercussions from the wolf. So I have one more story. A little bit long, but that's okay. We're not going anywhere. I'm drinking a lot of water in the hot weather. This is one of my favorite stories. It's called Sylvester and the Magic Pebble by William Steig. This got a Caldecott medal for its pictures. So William Steig also wrote Shrek. You can come in and borrow Shrek the book or Shrek the movie. And if some of you remember at your school, we showed a video of me telling the story of Dr. DeSoto, the fox who was the dentist. And that was also written by William Steig. So, very interesting stories. Sylvester and the Magic Pebble, published by Simon & Schuster Books. Sylvester Duncan lived with his mother and father at Acorn Road in Oatsdale. One of his hobbies was collecting pebbles of unusual shapes and colors. Do you collect pebbles? I always collected pebbles, and I still do. I collect pebbles from all over the world, and sometimes polished stones. I just have a fascination. It's a wonderful fascination. On a rainy Saturday during vacation, Sylvester found a quite extraordinary stone. It was flaming red, shiny, and perfectly round, like a marble. As he was studying this remarkable pebble, he began to shiver, probably from excitement, and the rain felt cold on his back. "I wish it would stop raining," he said. And there he is with the pebble. To his great surprise, the rain stopped. It didn't gradually stop, as rains usually do. It ceased. The drops vanished on the way down. The clouds disappeared. Everything was dry, and the sun was shining as if the rain had never existed. In all his young life, Sylvester had never had a wish gratified so quickly. It struck him that magic must be at work, and he guessed that the magic must be in the remarkable-looking pebble, where it was. To make a test, he put the pebble on the ground and said, "I wish it would rain again." Nothing happened. But when he said the same thing, holding the pebble in his hoof, the sky turned black. There was lightning and a clap of thunder, and the rain came shooting down. And there he is holding it. "What a lucky day this is," thought Sylvester. "From now on, I can have anything I want. My father and mother can have anything they want. My relatives, my friends, and anybody at all can have everything anybody wants." He wished the sunshine back in the sky, and he wished a wart on his left hind fetlock would disappear, and it did. So he started home, eager to amaze his father and mother with his magic pebble. He could hardly wait to see their faces. Maybe they wouldn't even believe him at first. He's just a little boy. As he was crossing Strawberry Hill, thinking of some of the many, many things he could wish for, he was startled to see a mean, hungry lion looking right at him from behind some tall grass. He was frightened. If he hadn't been so frightened, he could have made the lion disappear, or he could have wished himself safe at home with his father and mother. But as it turned out, he was very, very frightened. And he's still holding the pebble. He could have wished that the lion would turn into a butterfly or a daisy or a gnat. He could have wished many things, but he panicked and couldn't think carefully. I wish I were a rock, he said, and he became a rock. The lion came bounding over, sniffed the rock 100 times, walked around and around it, and went away confused, perplexed, puzzled, bewildered. I saw that little donkey clear as day. Maybe I'm going crazy, he muttered. Oh, there's the rock, and the little red pebble is right next to it. Ooh. And there was Sylvester, a rock on Strawberry Hill, with the magic pebble lying right beside him on the ground. And he was unable to pick it up. Oh, how I wish I were myself again, he thought, but nothing happened. He had to be touching the pebble to make the magic work, but there was nothing he could do about it. His thoughts began to race like mad. He was scared and worried. Being helpless, he felt hopeless. He imagined all the possibilities, and eventually he realized that his only chance of becoming himself again was for someone to find the red pebble and to wish that the rock next to it would be a donkey. Someone would surely find the red pebble. It was so bright and shiny. But what on earth would make them wish that a rock were a donkey? The chance was 1 in a billion at best. Sylvester fell asleep. What else could he do? Night came with many stars. Beautiful night sky. And there's the red pebble. That's very frightening. Meanwhile, back at home, Mr. and Mrs. Duncan paced the floor, frantic with worry. Sylvester had never come home later than dinner time. Where could he be? They stayed up all night wondering what had happened, expecting that Sylvester would surely turn up by morning. But he didn't, of course. Mrs. Duncan cried a lot, and Mr. Duncan did his best to soothe her. Both longed to have their dear son with them. I will never scold Sylvester again as long as I live, said Mrs. Duncan, no matter what he does. At dawn, they went out and about, inquiring of all the neighbors. They talked to all the children, the puppies, the kittens, the colts, and piglets. No one had seen Sylvester since the day before yesterday. They went to the police. The police could not find their child. We know why. All the dogs in Oatsdale went searching for him. They sniffed behind every rock and tree and blade of grass, into every nook and gully of the neighborhood and beyond, but found not a scent of him. They sniffed the rock on Strawberry Hill, but it smelled like a rock. It didn't smell like Sylvester. What a beautiful picture that is. After a month of searching the same places over and over again and inquiring of the same animals over and over again, Mr. and Mrs. Duncan no longer knew what to do. They concluded that something dreadful must have happened, and that they would probably never see their son again, though all the time he was less than a mile away. Aw, even Daddy is crying, of course. They tried their best to be happy, to go about their usual ways. But their usual ways included Sylvester, and they were always reminded of him. They were miserable. Life had no meaning for them anymore. Night followed day, and day followed night, over and over again. Sylvester on the hill woke up less and less often. When he was awake, he was only hopeless and unhappy. He felt he would be a rock forever, and he tried to get used to it. He went into an endless sleep. The days grew colder. Fall came with the leaves changing color. Then the leaves fell, and the grass bent to the ground. Then it was winter. The winds blew this way and that. It snowed. Mostly the animals stayed indoors, living on the food they had stored up. One day a wolf again. A wolf sat on the rock that was Sylvester and howled because he was hungry. Wolves get such a bad reputation for being hungry. Can we see the rock under the snow? Not really. By the way, there's a wolf farm in New Jersey up in Columbia by the Water Gap, and it's called Lakota Wolf Farm. And the wolves live safely because they're rescued in a pen. And there's a lot of them, and it's a wonderful thing to see these big, wonderful, lovely wolves. And the lady of the wolf farm, she goes out, and there's a crowd of people, and she gets the wolves to howl. And I hope you can see that someday, because wolves howl from their throat, and they just lift their throat. Oh, and it comes out of their throat. It's not such a big mouthy howl like a coyote. Yep, 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 yep. It's more from the throat. It's a beautiful thing to see. Well, then the snows melted. The earth warmed up in the spring sun, and things budded. Leaves were on the trees again. Flowers showed their young faces. And the rock is still there, and the pebble. One day, Mr. and Mrs. Mr. Duncan insisted that his wife go with him on a picnic. "Let's cheer up," he said. "Let us try to live again and be happy, even though Sylvester, our angel, is no longer with us." And they went to Strawberry Hill. Mrs. Duncan sat down on the rock. The warmth of his own mother sitting on him woke Sylvester up from his deep winter sleep. How he wanted to shout, "Mother, Father, it's me, Sylvester, I'm right here." But he couldn't talk. He had no voice. He was stone dumb. Mr. Duncan walked aimlessly about while Mrs. Duncan set out the picnic food on the rock. Alfalfa sandwiches, pickled oats, sassafras salad, Timothy compote. Suddenly, Mr. Duncan saw the red pebble. "What a fantastic pebble!" he exclaimed. Sylvester would have loved it for his collection. He put the pebble on the rock. They sat down to eat. Sylvester was now as wide awake as a donkey that was a rock could possibly be. Mrs. Duncan felt some mysterious excitement. "You know, Father," she said suddenly, "I have the strangest feeling that our dear Sylvester is still alive and not far away." I am, Sylvester wanted to shout, but he couldn't. If only he had realized that the pebble resting on his back was the magic pebble. Oh, how I wish he were here with us on this lovely May day, said Mrs. Duncan. Mr. Duncan looked sadly at the ground. Don't you wish it too, Father? She said. He looked at her as if to say, how can you ask such a question? Mr. and Mrs. Duncan looked at each other with great sorrow. I wish I were myself again. I wish I were my real self again, thought Sylvester. And in less than an instant, he was. And he's got the picnic on his back. You can imagine the scene that followed. The embraces, the kisses, the questions, the answers, and the loving looks and the fond exclamations. Of course. Of course. When they had eventually calmed down a bit and had gotten home, Mr. Duncan put the magic pebble in an iron safe. Someday they might want to use it, but really, for now, what more could they wish for? They had all they wanted. The end. I love that story, and I hope you did too. Well, thanks for joining me for this session of Summer Stories, and I hope to see you next time.